Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builder Supply. In this video is to bring you a closer look at the Jo number OSLP-207DU. This is a Duro-coated latch guard is what this is. Okay, let's go over what this is. Let's take it out of the package and take a look here at what's happening. So, first and foremost, we've got a hunk of steel that weighs about 0.7 pound, or at least it does with its bolt package. But here's what it looks like. It's got a significant offset to it, as you can see. This can be installed on either a, well, from your perspective, a left-hand reverse, or on a right-hand reverse door. It doesn't matter. It can go either way. The offset that's here is certainly going to work towards determining if this is going to work for you, along with that cut for a very large sort of rosette that you might see on a grade 1 or grade 2 cylindrical lock. There's a link below this video to the template, and let's go over that now. 7-inch tall, that's indeed correct. They have an overall of 2 5/8, and I'd say that that would be correct as well. The next important thing is that offset, and that's 3/4 inch according to the drawing. And I'd say that would be spot on. Okay, they've got a radius of that cut at 1 5/16. That appears to be correct. So if your lock is going to be, you know, 2 5/8, 2 9/16 diameter, it will certainly work with this very well. Now, where would you use something with such a great offset? Well, on a scenario where you have a door that's significantly inset into the frame is where you're going to use it. Very unusual to use it on a hollow metal door and frame, as the description below this video dictates. Very unusual to see this because the offset is just simply too great. I suppose that you could, and if you were trying to account for the lip of the strike projecting from the frame, that could certainly be why you'd want a greater offset there. But generally where you'll see this more often is in a scenario where you have a trim condition. In your mind's eye, imagine a residential application, garage door, the door swings out, the door is basically flush with the frame, it might be inset ever so slightly, but there is trim or siding or wood or jam extensions for whatever reason that come right up to the face of the, basically overlapping the frame so significantly that you need an offset. And the client will say to me, you know, I don't really want to get in there and chop all that wood out because maybe it's a trim cap over vinyl or aluminum siding. Maybe it's some sort of treatment like that. So really the most elegant way to go about is to simply go with an offset. The bottom line is, if you have a condition, whether it's what I just described, or maybe it's a center hung door that's literally set, it's set into the frame substantially greater than a typical single acting offset or butt hung installation, you would need to have an offset like this. Okay. The on that template they give us a reference to the gauge, which they say is 12 gauge, which I have at, they say 0.104. My caliper's telling me 0.105. The different finishes now and base materials. First of all, this is DU for Duronautic. That means a couple of things. It's made of steel. It doesn't necessarily mean this, but in this case it means steel with a dark bronze powder coat. You can do a BP finish for brass plated. You can do a CP finish for a chrome plated. You can do an SL for a silver powder coat. The DU for the dark bronze, well, that's 4. Then you can change it and go with a stainless steel brushed finish over a stainless base material as well. If you want stainless steel, it's also available in that. Now, there's a link below this video to the product catalog that will allow you to review all of the latch guards from Jo, and I would very much recommend that you review that because it's quite enlightening to be able to see what all the other options are when it comes to these latch guards. You can search for the OSLP-207 and certainly get to the chart where you're going to find that. Find the other part numbers that are directly related to it. In particular, the 10-inch version of the item, which would be the OSLP-210. The part number for the stainless steel version, which would be a 107 or a 110, depending on the length. You also see where they have some part numbers that end in EBF in that area as well. And that's going to be a reference to the fasteners that you can obtain with this. And that would be a very low profile head on the bolt itself. And let's talk about that, because you might need the EBF. You might be in trouble if you try to go without it. So what we're dealing with on the EBF suffix is you're going to get 2 carriage bolts, nuts, and washers, acorn nuts. Yo. Okay. Outside of the door, it's a carriage bolt, so it's got a square head underneath it. Not going to rotate. You come with that washer. You come with that acorn nut. What happens if that door goes to close and makes contact with the hardware, weather stripping, the stop of the frame? The EBF fastener is going to be so trim that it will literally project maybe 100,000ths of an inch, very, very thin sort of head on that. You can't go in and grind the head of that acorn nut down at all. So consider the EBF fastener a good way to go. And in fact, you might just want to only order it that way so there's no possibility of interference at all. So that would be a good reason to have that EBF. There is where the advantage of looking at the manufacturer's product catalog comes into play, because you'll see, oh, I didn't know that was available. Well, right, it's there. So take a look, is the bottom line. And what you'll notice, however, is that you might determine this is the perfect latch guard for your application. You might also determine, oh, no, there's a better one. So the catalog's really good for that. And this video is obviously to help point you in the right direction regarding that. Now, there's also a link below this video to the manufacturer's page where you can pull up not only all of the Donjo products that we sell, but also a link to the manufacturer's website, as well as a link to the full product catalog. But the full product catalog is pretty overwhelming when all you want to look at are latch guards or door reinforcing wraparound plates. And certainly those two areas is what Donjo is most notorious for. If you know that name, it'll be for U-shaped door reinforcing plates or for latch protectors. So we've broken the catalog up into those subsections. But if you have more than an occasional need for trim and auxiliary hardware, I do recommend that you review their book, because they're a company that deserves consideration. They have a relatively petite footprint within the industry, but what they do very well. And the rare instance where there's a mistake, they make it good all the time. They're nice people. You like them. They're responsive. Generally, the person that answers the phone can answer any question that you give them. So it's appreciated to work with a company who's well run and organized. Anyway, if you have any questions on the Donjo, their part number OSLP-207-DU latch protector, or any other Donjo product, please feel free to reach out to us. Thank you.